Why is my hair thinning even though I eat healthy, exercise, and take vitamins? This is one of the most common questions I hear, especially from women who feel like they shouldn't be losing hair at all. It's a question soaked in frustration, disappointment, and confusion. After all, we're told that hair loss is a cosmetic problem, something fixed by serums, shampoos, or products that promise fuller hair in 30 days. But here's what's really going on inside your body. Hair isn't just a cosmetic accessory. Healthy hair growth is a physiological signal of your internal metabolic and hormonal harmony. It reflects how well your body manages stress, hormones, nutrient supply, inflammation, and cellular energy. Hair follicles are among the most metabolically active tissues in the body. When your metabolism is unbalanced, your body will prioritize vital functions like brain, heart, and survival over hair growth, and hair becomes the first thing that gets sacrificed. The most common reason women lose hair, and this is where almost everyone gets it wrong, isn't genetics alone. It isn't shampoo choice, and it isn't bad hair days. The number one mistake most women make that leads to hair loss is failing to address the internal environment, especially metabolic and hormonal balance. This means looking deeper than scalp serums and cosmetic fixes and asking, are my hormones balanced? Is my metabolism stressed? Am I delivering the nutrients my follicles actually need? In recent research, experts reviewing thousands of cases of hair thinning in women found that nutrient deficiencies, chronic stress, hormonal imbalances, and systemic inflammation are far more powerful drivers of hair loss than shampoos or styling practices. Even more telling, many women think they're eating healthy, but their diets are high in simple sugars or low in essential micronutrients like iron and vitamin D, which directly influence hair follicle function and growth cycles. Here's the key insight. Hair loss isn't a standalone condition. It's a symptom of an upstream imbalance in your metabolism, hormones, or nutrient status. Over the course of this video, we're going to unpack exactly what goes wrong physiologically when hair follicles stop thriving, how systemic metabolic stress silently sabotages your hair, what current science, including human studies from 2025, shows about root causes, actionable, natural strategies to reverse shedding, starting at the inside. And as we go through these steps, you'll have clear, evidence-based protocols rooted in metabolic health, hormonal balance, and nutritional science, not guesswork. So let me ask you again, is your hair trying to tell you something deeper about your internal health? If you stay with me through this video, you'll not only understand why this happens, you'll know how to fix it naturally, sustainably, and without expensive, ineffective topicals. Let's get into the heart of the matter. Most women don't realize this, but the very mistake that drives hair loss isn't about what you put on your hair. It's about what's happening inside your body. Here's what's really going on inside your body when hair begins to thin. Hair follicles live in a delicate dance between growth, rest, and shedding. And this dance depends on the internal metabolic environment, hormones, nutrient supply, and stress signals. Hair growth isn't just cosmetic. It's a biological signal that your body has enough resources to grow new tissue. When your internal system is stressed, your body shifts resources toward organs that keep you alive: brain, heart, lungs, and hair gets deprioritized. Let's use a simple analogy. Imagine your body is a city during a storm. If the city has plenty of resources, food, workers, electricity, everything runs smoothly. But when trouble hits, high stress, blood sugar imbalance, nutrient shortages, the city goes into survival mode. Power gets routed to critical services first, and less essential functions, like new construction projects, slow down or stop entirely. That's what happens in your body. Hair follicles slow or stop growth to preserve energy for vital organs. The core mistake: ignoring internal metabolic stress. The number one mistake women make is focusing on external treatments while ignoring the internal metabolic and hormonal stress that drives hair loss. This internal stress can be triggered by elevated cortisol and chronic stress. This pushes hair follicles into the resting telogen phase prematurely. Insulin imbalances and blood sugar dysregulation, which reduces nutrient and oxygen delivery to follicles and increases androgen activity. Hidden nutrient deficiencies, especially iron, vitamin D, zinc, and B vitamins, which are essential for hair follicle energy, cell division, and keratin production. Here's the physiology behind this: stress hormones and hair growth, cortisol. When stress is chronic, whether emotional, physical, or metabolic, the adrenal glands ramp up cortisol production. In moderate amounts, cortisol is normal, but when chronically elevated, cortisol sends a survival signal to your body. We need to conserve energy, stop non essential functions. Hair follicles are one of the first systems to get that signal. They prematurely shift more hairs from the growing phase, anagen, into the resting phase, telogen, a condition called telogen effluvium. This shows up as noticeable thinning weeks or months after the initial stressor. Insulin and hormonal crosstalk. Insulin's job is to regulate blood sugar, but when insulin resistance develops, often linked to high sugar intake, metabolic stress, or poor sleep, hormonal balance is disrupted. Insulin resistance can increase androgen activity in hair follicles, elevating levels of DHT, dihydrotestosterone, which miniaturizes follicles and accelerates thinning. This is why women with metabolic conditions like PCOS often report hair thinning. Nutrient bottlenecks, the follicle's fuel tank. Your hair is mostly protein, specifically keratin, but keratin isn't built without a suite of micronutrients working behind the scenes. Iron ensures oxygen delivery. Low iron slows oxygen transport to the scalp, weakening follicles. Vitamin D plays a role in follicle cycling. Low levels are linked with increased shedding and shorter growth phases. Zinc and B vitamins support cell division and metabolic energy. Even mild deficiencies, common in women with heavy periods, restrictive diets, or poor digestion, silently impair follicle health long before you notice shedding. Here's the key take-home idea. The most dangerous mistake isn't shampoo choice. It's neglecting the internal metabolic conditions that drive hair follicle function. Now let's zoom in on one of the most underestimated drivers of female hair loss: chronic stress and cortisol dysregulation. This is where many women get blindsided because the stress isn't always obvious. It's not always emotional stress. Often, it's physiological stress coming from dieting, blood sugar swings, overexercise, poor sleep, or constant mental pressure. Here's what's really going on inside your body. Cortisol is your primary stress hormone. In short bursts, cortisol is protective. It helps you wake up, focus, and respond to challenges. But when cortisol stays elevated for weeks or months, it sends a very different message to your body. We are not safe. Conserve energy. And when your body goes into conservation mode, hair growth is one of the first processes to be shut down. Let me explain this with a simple analogy. Imagine your body as a company with a fixed budget. When times are good, the company invests in growth, new projects, innovation, expansion. Hair growth is one of those growth projects. But when the economy tightens, stress rises, leadership freezes hiring, cancels expansion, and focuses only on survival. In your body, cortisol is that emergency budget officer. When cortisol is high, growth processes like hair, nails, and even skin regeneration are paused. Cortisol and the hair growth cycle. Hair follicles cycle through three main phases: anagen, growth; catagen, transition; telogen, rest and shedding. Under healthy conditions, about 85 to 90% of your hair is in the growth phase. But research shows that elevated cortisol pushes follicles prematurely into the telogen phase, leading to diffuse shedding weeks or even months later, a condition known as telogen effluvium. This is why many women say, "My hair started falling out months after a stressful period." The delay is not a coincidence. Cortisol alters signaling at the follicle level, reducing growth signals and increasing inflammatory messengers around the hair root. Over time, follicles become less resilient and produce thinner, weaker hair shafts. The stress nobody talks about: dieting and over-control. Here's a crucial point most people miss. Extreme dieting and constant calorie restriction are perceived by the body as stress. Low-calorie diets, chronic fasting without recovery, cutting carbohydrates too aggressively, or excessive cardio can all elevate cortisol, especially in women. Female physiology is particularly sensitive to energy availability because of reproductive signaling. When energy intake is too low, the body shifts into preservation mode. What the research shows is that low energy availability increases cortisol and reduces thyroid hormone conversion, both of which are essential for hair follicle metabolism. When thyroid signaling slows, hair growth slows. Period. This explains why many women notice hair loss after rapid weight loss, long periods of restrictive eating, overtraining without rest, poor sleep combined with intense exercise. The body isn't being difficult, it's being protective. Cortisol, blood sugar, and the scalp environment. Cortisol also directly interferes with blood sugar control. When cortisol is high, blood sugar rises. Elevated blood sugar damages tiny blood vessels, including those that supply the scalp. Reduced blood flow means less oxygen, fewer nutrients, and slower cellular turnover at the follicle. Over time, the scalp environment becomes less supportive of growth and more inflammatory. Actionable protocol: calm cortisol to protect hair. Here's what actually helps, and this is where women start seeing results. Eat enough protein and calories. Hair follicles require energy. Aim for adequate protein, especially at breakfast, to signal safety to the body. Stabilize blood sugar. Build meals around protein, healthy fats, and fiber. Avoid skipping meals if you're already stressed. Rethink exercise intensity. Walking, resistance training, and gentle movement lower cortisol. Chronic heat, without recovery, often raises it. Protect sleep like medicine. Even 1 week of poor sleep raises cortisol and reduces hair growth signals. Micronutrients that support stress resilience, magnesium, B-complex vitamins, and vitamin C help regulate the stress response and support adrenal recovery. The key idea to remember is this: your hair grows best when your body feels safe. In the next section, we'll connect this directly to insulin, blood sugar, and hormonal signaling, and why eating healthy isn't always enough if your metabolism is stressed. Now we need to talk about a hormone that almost no one connects to hair loss, yet it may be one of the most powerful drivers behind it: insulin. Many women are told, your labs look normal, your blood sugar is fine. But here's what's really going on inside your body. You can have normal blood sugar on paper and still have chronically elevated insulin. And when insulin stays high for too long, it quietly disrupts hair follicle signaling, hormone balance, and nutrient delivery all at the same time. Let me explain this with a simple analogy. Think of insulin as a delivery truck. Its job is to move glucose from your bloodstream into your cells. When the roads are clear and traffic is light, one truck does the job just fine. But when your diet is constantly triggering spikes, sugar, refined carbs, snacking all day, the body sends out more and more trucks. Eventually, traffic jams form. Cells stop responding. That's insulin resistance. And hair follicles are extremely sensitive to this traffic problem. Why hair follicles suffer. First, hair follicles require stable glucose delivery, oxygen-rich blood flow, proper hormone signaling. When insulin is chronically elevated, 3 things happen that directly impair hair growth. Reduced nutrient and oxygen delivery. High insulin levels damage the lining of small blood vessels over time. These tiny vessels are exactly what feed your scalp. Less blood flow means less iron, zinc, amino acids, and oxygen reaching the follicle. Growth slows, even if you're eating healthy. Hormonal imbalance and androgen sensitivity. Elevated insulin increases the activity of enzymes that convert hormones into androgens, including DHT. Now, this is important. Women do not need high testosterone to lose hair. They need high sensitivity at the follicle. Insulin increases that sensitivity. Over time, follicles begin to miniaturize, producing thinner, shorter hairs with each cycle. This is one reason women with PCOS, prediabetes, or metabolic syndrome often experience thinning at the crown or part line, inflammation at the scalp level. Insulin resistance increases systemic inflammation. Inflammation alters the microenvironment of the follicle, shortening the growth phase and extending the resting phase. Hair sheds more easily and regrows more slowly. The healthy diet trap. Here's where the big mistake shows up. Many women eat what they believe is a healthy diet: smoothies, whole grains, fruit all day, low fat, but their blood sugar is on a roller coaster. Each spike triggers insulin, each crash triggers cortisol, and the cycle repeats. To your hair follicles, this looks like chaos. Remember, hair grows when the body senses metabolic stability, not perfection, stability. Actionable protocol: lower insulin, support hair growth. This is where things become practical. Anchor every meal with protein. Protein stabilizes blood sugar and lowers the insulin response. Aim for 25-35 grams per meal. Stop grazing. Constant snacking keeps insulin elevated. Give your body 3 to 4 hours between meals so insulin can fall. Carbohydrates are not the enemy. Timing matters. Place carbs around physical activity or dinner, not alone on an empty stomach. Start your day metabolically stable. A high-protein breakfast reduces insulin spikes for the rest of the day. This has been shown repeatedly in metabolic studies. Support insulin sensitivity naturally. Magnesium, chromium, berberine, resistance training, and walking after meals all improve insulin signaling and indirectly support hair regrowth. Here's the key point I want you to remember. Hair loss in women is often a metabolic signal, not a cosmetic failure. If this is helpful so far, consider subscribing. I share science-based strategies like this every day to help you optimize metabolism, hormones, and longevity naturally. In the next section, we'll uncover a massive piece of the puzzle that almost no one tests properly: nutrient deficiencies and liver function, and why supplements alone often don't work. This is the section that creates the biggest aha moment for most women. Because many will say, I already take supplements, iron, biotin, collagen. Why is my hair still falling out? And here's what's really going on inside your body. Hair loss is rarely caused by not taking enough supplements. It's far more often caused by not absorbing, activating, or delivering nutrients properly. And at the center of that process is your liver. Let me explain this with a simple analogy. Think of nutrients as raw materials: bricks, wood, steel. Taking supplements is like unloading those materials at a construction site. But if the project manager isn't coordinating the build, nothing gets assembled. Your liver is that project manager. If liver function is compromised, even subtly, nutrients don't get converted into their active forms, hormones don't get balanced correctly, and toxins aren't cleared efficiently. And when that happens, hair follicles don't get what they need, even if your supplement cabinet is full. Why hair follicles are extremely sensitive to deficiencies. Hair follicles are among the fastest dividing cells in the body. That means they need continuous oxygen delivery, adequate iron for blood flow, zinc and B vitamins for cell division, vitamin D for follicle cycling, amino acids for keratin production. Even mild deficiencies, levels still considered normal on lab ranges, can slow hair growth dramatically. Iron is a perfect example. Many women are told, you're not anemic, so iron isn't the issue. But hair follicles don't care about anemia thresholds. They care about optimal ferritin levels. Low normal ferritin is strongly associated with increased shedding and shortened growth phases, especially in menstruating women. Vitamin D works the same way. It doesn't just support bones, it helps regulate the hair growth cycle. Low vitamin D is associated with follicles staying offline longer between growth phases. The liver-hair connection. No one talks about. Here's the missing link. Your liver is responsible for converting inactive thyroid hormone, T4, into active T3, metabolizing excess estrogen, activating vitamin D, storing iron, vitamin A, and B12, clearing inflammatory byproducts. When liver function is overloaded by processed foods, alcohol, medications, chronic stress, or insulin resistance, these processes slow down. What does that mean for hair? Slower thyroid signaling, slower hair growth. Poor estrogen clearance, estrogen dominance, increased shedding, inactive vitamin D, poor follicle cycling, poor iron utilization, weak oxygen delivery to scalp. This is why two women can take the same supplements and only one sees results. Why more supplements is often the wrong move. When absorption or liver activation is the issue, adding more supplements can actually increase stress on the system. Hair regrowth improves not when you flood the body, but when you restore metabolic flow. Actionable protocol: make nutrients work again. Here's what actually helps. Prioritize whole food sources first: iron from red meat, zinc from seafood, B vitamins from eggs and liver. These come in bioavailable forms your body recognizes. Support liver detoxification: gently cruciferous vegetables, bitter greens, lemon water, and adequate protein. Help the liver process hormones and nutrients efficiently. Avoid constant snacking and late night eating. The liver needs fasting windows to repair and reset. Be strategic with supplements. If needed, focus on iron only if low, vitamin D, zinc, magnesium, and a high-quality B complex, but only alongside proper digestion and liver support. Reduce the hidden liver stressors. Alcohol, ultra-processed foods, and excessive sugar directly impair liver metabolism and hormone clearance. Here's the key insight to lock in. Hair loss is not just about what you consume, it's about what your body can use. In the next section, we'll bring everything together and talk about how estrogen, thyroid hormones, and metabolic health converge, and the exact signals that tell hair follicles it's safe to grow again. Let's zoom out and connect the dots, because once you see the full picture, hair loss stops feeling random or hopeless. Here's what's really been happening inside your body. Hair loss in women is rarely a scalp problem. It's almost never solved by a new shampoo, oil, or topical treatment. Hair thinning is a biological message, a signal that your internal environment is under stress. We walked through the real physiology together. We saw how chronic stress and elevated cortisol push hair follicles out of growth mode and into survival mode. We explained why extreme dieting, overexercise, poor sleep, and constant pressure quietly shut down hair production, even in women who look healthy on the outside. We uncovered how insulin and blood sugar instability disrupt hormone signaling, reduce blood flow to the scalp, and increase follicle sensitivity to androgens, long before blood sugar numbers look abnormal on labs. We talked about nutrient deficiencies that hide in plain sight: iron, vitamin D, zinc, B vitamins, and why taking supplements doesn't work if your liver can't activate, store, or deliver them properly. And this brings us back to the one core mistake: trying to fix hair loss at the surface while ignoring the internal metabolic signals that control growth. Hair follicles are incredibly intelligent. They respond to safety, stability, and abundance. When your body feels nourished, rested, hormonally balanced, and metabolically calm, hair growth resumes naturally without forcing it. So what do you actually do with this? Start simple. Choose one change, not 10. Eat a protein-rich breakfast tomorrow. Stop grazing between meals. Walk for 10 minutes after dinner. Go to bed 30 minutes earlier. Remove one major stressor from your routine. Support your liver with real food and real recovery. Then watch how your body responds. Because when insulin stabilizes, cortisol calms. When cortisol calms, thyroid signaling improves. When thyroid and estrogen balance, follicles re-enter growth mode. This is systems biology, not hacks. And this matters far beyond hair. These same signals affect energy and focus, weight regulation, hormonal balance, skin aging, long-term metabolic health, and longevity. Hair regrowth is often one of the first visible signs that internal healing is happening. So here's my challenge to you. Don't chase products. Fix the signal. Give your body the conditions it needs to feel safe again, and let biology do what it was designed to do. If this added value for you, like the video and subscribe to join others who are optimizing their health naturally, without medications, without extremes, and without confusion. Your body is always communicating with you. When you learn how to listen, everything starts to change.